best moment in the day is when you wrap your fingers around a hot cup of Indian coffee, recently roasted, freshly ground, and brewed to perfection. Few things warm India's heart as surely as a cup of coffee.
This is a new India. An India where tradition merges with modernity. An India which is home to people from across the world. A cultural and international melting pot of people and traditions. Today, India is a country which has a global appeal in all it has to offer, while always remaining local in its ethos. The best of both worlds is apparent in the world of coffee too. A beverage which was known for its old world charm and for its international flavors has today crossed over to become a contemporary beverage, becoming part and parcel of India.
Today, India is the third biggest producer of coffee in Asia and is responsible for 15% of Asia's coffee production. Few people know that India exports 70 to 80% of its coffee produce, with Italy, Russia and Germany being the top buyers. While we sip on that little cup of information, you've got to wonder how India's love affair with coffee began. After all, coffee wasn't indigenous to India.
Legend has it that a Sufi pilgrim called Baba Budan brought 7 coffee beans from Mecca way back in 1670. He brought these beans to the hills of Chikmagalur, planting them in the Chandragiri hills. There's even a hill called the Baba Budan Giri Hill, and if you look closely, you can almost see our coffee pilgrims progress up those misty hills, covered today in the thick coffee bushes.
But it's not all that mystical. The British and the native growers were the ones who started commercial cultivation of coffee.
It's thanks to these pioneers that plantations stretch from Chikmagalur to the hills of Coorg and down to Kerala. These coffee plantations spread throughout the south during colonial rule, especially since 1840. Coffee plantations were set up in Karnataka, Kerala, Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh.
The fact that today Indian coffee is considered among the best in the world has a lot to do with the custodian of coffee in India for nearly 7 decades, the Coffee Board of India.
During the Second World War, dipping economies had a devastating effect on the price of coffee. It was then, in 1942, that the Coffee Board of India was established to oversee the coffee growing industry, to regulate export, incentivize farmers, and to ensure a standardization of quality.
Today, the Coffee Board of India serves as friend philosopher guide for the coffee sector, overseeing the entire value chain.
The Coffee Board of India also owns the Central Coffee Research Institute, established way back in 1925 in Chikmagalur district of Karnataka. A team of about 115 researchers at CCRI and its regional centers are involved in development of production and processing technology, ensuring that India brews a perfect cup of coffee for all kinds of consumers. It's not all work and no play at the Coffee Board of India though. In fact, way before glitzy coffee chains popped up all over India, the Coffee Board was responsible for the first bespoke coffee shops in the country. The India Coffee House chain is still as popular today as it was when it was first started by the Coffee Board in the early 1940s. It is these coffee houses which prepared the palates of Indians for the newer coffee joints.
So what makes Indian coffee so unique and so popular across the world?
India's coffee grows between 2,000 and 5,000 feet above sea level, usually on terraces in the mountains. One of the key differentiators is that all of India's coffee is shade-grown and grown with personalized care. Workers with baskets atop their heads work their way through the bushes, gently carrying the red fruits of the coffee plants. and the trees offer shade to the bushes, which make the beans mature slowly in the shade, adding to their rich flavor. Integrated farming, with minimum use of agrochemicals, results in sustaining the natural balance of the soil and its nutrients.
A world of animals also exist under the canopy of trees. Flying squirrels, Malabar grey hornbills, small Indian civets, wild boar, mouse deer, not to forget large mammals like elephants, tigers, bisons, leopards. It's a veritable zoo.
While the coffee plantations provide them shelter, their droppings act as fertilizer to the coffee plants. A truly symbiotic relationship.
There's also a parallel universe of spices and fruits that coexist in these coffee plantations. Aromatic pepper, cardamom, vanilla, oranges, bananas. Intercrop with these spices and fruits, the coffee gains aromatics.
Intercropping also ensures that the plantation workers are employed even during off-season and also helps in generating additional income to the growers, thus giving them a continuous, sustained livelihood.
Another reason why the coffee grown in India is of high quality is because most of the coffee plantations in India are on a small scale, cultivated by small growers. This higher percentage of small growers, as opposed to large corporate behemoths, ensures personalized care, which results in higher quality produce.
Although modern methods of processing exist, wherever possible, the coffee is processed under the careful supervision of expert workers. The drying process also has human intervention coming in at nearly every step. Parchment coffee being dried on many a sprawling backyard is a common sight.
Very little machinery is used during this entire process. As a result, the coffee is of high quality and low yield, as opposed to high yield but low quality.
It's these sustainable and personalized farming practices which have resulted in India producing some of the finest coffees in the world.
The purity of coffee plantations has led to another parallel experience, one which has nothing to do with drinking coffee. The fresh, crisp air of plantations and the joy of spending a few moments in pristine surroundings have made plantations the perfect tourist destination for those wanting to be one with nature.
The coffee plantations have also positively affected the lives of tribal communities, who can no longer make a living from shifting cultivation owing to deforestation. This is especially true in the organic Araku coffee plantations in northwestern Andhra Pradesh, which are non-traditional coffee growing areas. The tribal area is populated by various indigenous tribal people, of whom about 60,000 benefit from the introduction of coffee cultivation. Today, thanks to the coffee plantations, they have year-round employment. A mix of these factors, shade-grown, mixed cropping, human touch, sustainable farming, have all led to the unique taste of Indian coffee. Indian coffees contain mild acidity and the full body. These coffees also carry the unique spicy flavors of nutmeg, clove, cardamom and pepper.
It takes a lot to make that perfect cup of coffee, and India is home to 3 unique specialty coffees: Monsoon Malabar, Mysore Nuggets Extra Bold and Robusta Capi Royale. Monsoon Malabar was, like many famous birds, the result of an accident.
Centuries ago, when coffee beans were transported to Europe by sailing ships, monsoon winds caused the beans to swell and change color. They acquired an intensely mellow flavor, which has found great favor with coffee connoisseurs.
Today, this magic is recreated by monsooning the finest Arabica and Robusta beans to produce a world-famous specialty coffee.
The Mysore Nuggets Extra Bold variety is prepared from washed Arabicas. This is a rare, premium coffee and truly represents the best quality coffee from India. The very regal-sounding Robusta Capi Royale is prepared from Robusta Parchment AB. The cup ensures a full body, soft, smooth and mellow flavor. This is also where the Coffee Board of India plays an integral role, ensuring that the coffee beans meet the same standards every time, so that each cup is a cup of trust and great taste. The Coffee Board of India has almost served the role of a local guardian to its ward, coffee.
The biggest differentiators between Indian coffee and others is that while in India we are creating coffee appealing to global tastes, we are doing so in a manner as bespoke as possible through small-scale cultivations.
This is a personalized approach to the production and cultivation of Indian coffee. It's the Indian way of doing things. The eco-friendly approach to coffee planting is never ignored, whether it be the minimum use of chemicals through the truly novel practice of reusing the berry skin as natural manure,
or even the focus placed on abatement of pollutants and pollution through various methods. Adoption of ecological wet processing and pulping units which use new generation eco-pulpers which help in minimizing and avoiding effluent generation.
The practice of keeping coffee planting and processing natural, personal and sustainable has also ensured that Indian roasters have announced their commitment to shift towards sustainable coffees, meeting set standards of economic, social and environmental sustainability, making the Indian coffee industry less than none internationally.
Which is why it is not surprising that India is the 6th largest producer of coffee in the world.
Today, more Indians are visiting coffee shops, taking regular coffee breaks in office, and even drinking more at home. The coffee drinking culture has become part and parcel of us.
Not to forget the charm of instant coffee, which has become a staple at homes, colleges, shops and dhabas. When a cup of coffee is so easy to make, it's difficult not to get used to its taste.
Though this kind of coffee is not a lifestyle drink, its popularity has still made India the leading manufacturer of instant coffee for the export market. India today symbolizes a coffee boutique, giving to the world a miasma of coffee flavors, which are only growing in popularity, taking pride in remaining local at heart and taking personal hands-on care in producing some of the finest coffee in the world, all under the guidance of the Coffee Board of India.
Diverse, exotic, steeped in tradition and appealing to the world, Indian coffee epitomizes all that India stands for.